In November of 2003, two strong division rivals on a collision course met in a mid-November battle that was as mean-spirited as ever, but the game itself didn't really matter. Just a tie in the last year the NHL would have such a thing. In that game, however, a goal from number 20 on the Canucks, the first of his career. Number 20 wasn't old enough to even have his age match his number, a freshly drafted teenager out of Ohio State. He wasn't ready for the NHL at this point and would spend most of the 03-04 season and all of the canceled 2005 season in the AHL honing his game. Just a few months later, April 4th, 2004, Sergei Fedorov of the Anaheim Ducks scored midway through the third against the Flames, giving his team a victory in the meaningless final game of the season. Neither event seemed like anything at the time, but the two would coincide years later to create Calgary's most hated. Once he returned to the NHL, Ryan Kesler quickly established himself as a bit of a rat, but unlike Marchand or Tkachuk would in subsequent years, Kesler didn't often cross the line. In fact, he went his entire NHL career without being suspended. What Kesler was, a yapper, sneaky dirty, and fearless.
After it is Kesler, going back and Perry, Kesler scores!
He was a constant chirper, and the way he played the game put him at odds with Flames superstar Jarome Iginla. Iggy and Kesler met for a spirited and very long tilt in 2006. Both players are, obviously, tough, but they have very different brands of toughness. Iginla, the noble Canadian, is hard-hitting, battles through checks, and sticks up for his teammates. Kesler, the underhanded American, gets beat on, draws penalties, and lives to goad his opponents into beating on him all over again. The young Canucks spent the rest of the decade continuing to annoy people and improving significantly. 2009 was Kesler's first season as a Selke finalist. 2010, he was a Selke finalist again, and played a major role for the US at the Vancouver Olympics. In 2011, he finally won his Selke, netted 41 goals, and helped lead the Canucks to within one game of a Stanley Cup, completing his ascent to stardom. During all these years, Kesler didn't really do anything egregious. No horrific hits or nasty statements to the media, at least regarding the Flames. You see, with Ryan Kesler, it's about the slow burn. He annoys you, he picks at you, and he produces against you, until you gradually start to think, do I hate that guy? One Flame certainly did, as Kesler explained on Spit and Chicklets years later.
Jarome fucking hated me, man. That guy, preseason, he'd like, all right, we're doing this. Let's go. I go, buddy, It's preseason. Relax.
Stay away from me.
Even I'm like, hey, calm down.
Kesler's superstardom didn't last. Injuries made Kesler step back from a true star to a very good player, and that regression, paired with the Canucks fading from contention, brought the two parties to the edge of divorce. At the 2013 trade deadline, Iginla left the Flames, bringing his loathing for Kesler to Pittsburgh and later Boston. Kesler himself switched teams in the 2014 offseason, joining the Anaheim Ducks. The Ducks and Calgary did share a division, but that had only been the case for a whopping year since the NHL's 2014 realignment, as opposed to the Canucks and Flames, who had been in the same division since 1981. So with Iggy gone and Kesler on a team that had a not positive but more neutral relationship with the Flames, you'd think that would probably mute the rivalry. There was one massive specter hanging over Calgary when it came to the Ducks, though. The Flames hadn't won in Anaheim since Fedorov scored that goal in 2000. 2015 playoffs rolled around, that streak wasn't about to end, and Kesler was going to annoy the Flames right out of the postseason. The 2010s Ducks that Kesler joined were a juggernaut. 2015 saw them right in the middle of a 5-year reign as Pacific Division champs. The 2015 Flames, though they toppled the dying Canucks dynasty in the first round, were still a team on the rise. Their key was firepower, led by their sterling top line of sophomore Sean Monahan, rookie Johnny Gaudreau, and the team's leader in points, veteran Yuri Hudler. Yeah, really. These guys mixed with the Flames' stellar top four on defense and made the team very strong, but not very deep, with a steep drop-off to their second line of Lance Boma, Michael Backlund, and David Jones. Theoretically, this setup would leave them susceptible to a very strong matchup center like, Ryan Kesler or Ryan Getzlaf. Getzlaf and the loaded Ducks top line got the best-on-best matchup in Game 1, while Kesler, Jakob Silfverberg, and Matt Bolesky clamped everyone else. This is an aside, but Jakob Silfverberg really had a great mind in the transition game. Great puck mover through passing or carrying. The line scores in Game 2, they crush the Flames in transition, the Kesler line is just annoying. Still no wins in Anaheim. Game 3 was a great win for the Flames, but Game 4 started with an impressive transition goal and ended with Kesler standing on or in front of Kari Ramo as Bolesky netted the eventual game winner. With Game 5, the series went back to Anaheim, so it was academic. Kesler scored the first Ducks goal and was involved in the second in what was a back-and-forth game. The series ended with the similarly maligned Corey Perry accidentally on purpose flopping down on Kari Ramo and wrestling in the game winner. Nothing that bad, right? Just a good, annoying player continuing to be good and annoying. But it was still building. In 2016, the Flames regressed out of the playoffs, but Kesler only needed the high stakes of the home win streak to keep agitating. He swaggered in an empty netter in the team's first meeting of the season, a 5-3 Ducks win. Okay, not dickish enough for you? Fine.
As the home win streak comes to an end at 11. And Kesler shoots the puck into the net at the horn, and that's going to draw a reaction. And it's Weidman throwing punches on Kesler.
But Dennis Weidman normally really does a great job keeping his cool. Joking aside, you can see how much these Flames hated Kesler, even if his actions weren't always as blatant as this one was. In their next meeting, Johnny Gaudreau, of all people, kept going after Kesler. Kesler added an assist as the Ducks won 6-4. A week later, how about 2 goals and an assist from Kesler, a 5-2 Ducks win at Honda Center. A meaningless game in March was the two teams' last meeting. The home team, Ducks, dominated the Flames, and Kesler scored the 7th goal and added 3 assists in the 8-3 stomping. 9 points in 5 games against the Flames and 1 major dust-up caused. Not good enough. You could even say that the Ducks helped the clearly not yet ready Flames by setting them up with better draft position, allowing them to get future star Matthew Tkachuk, and later in the 3rd round with the 66th pick, the Flames took Adam Fox. Look how excited he was. Without that 4-point game from Kesler late in the season, the Flames might have missed out on 2 superstars in the making. The Flames were struggling out of the gate to start the 2016-17 season as they headed for their first game at Honda Center. 2 Kesler goals and a scrum with Sam Bennett. No problem. 4-1 Ducks, though the new addition, Tkachuk, got in a fight with Joseph Cramarosa. The odds of Tkachuk and Kesler being friends were slim. The Flames actually won big against the Ducks on December 4th, but it was at home and Kesler scored twice, so does that even count? The Ducks came back to town later that month and Kesler racked up 2 assists, 1 on the game winner and 1 on the solidifier. It isn't until April that the Ducks returned to Calgary. That's right, 2 assists from Kesler and a 4-3 win for Anaheim. When the teams reconvened in Anaheim a couple of days later, they concluded the 2017 regular season chapter of their rivalry with a bloody 3rd period and Ryan Kesler fighting a clearly not interested Michael Frolik. The Ducks won 3-1. Despite taking another beating from the Ducks in the regular season, 2017 was different for the Flames. They were back in the playoffs and had the privilege of playing the Ducks in the first round. Game 1 in Anaheim was a terrific game, with the Ducks clinging on to a lead late in the 3rd thanks in part to the heroics of goalie John Gibson. With the game on the line and 10 seconds left, the Flames had the puck in the Ducks' zone. Kesler blocked Hamilton's shot, then sat on the puck, killing 9 of the Flames' 10 seconds and assuring a Ducks victory. Now, basically all of the media analysis from this time touts how wise this move was, which of course, is correct. Kill basically all the time that's left. Who cares if you're penalized? But you can see how utterly infuriating it would have been for Flames fans. And that anger was amplified by who the perpetrator was. If it had been Sami Vatanen or Hampus Lindholm that sat on the puck, yeah, the Flames would have been annoyed, but I don't think anyone would hold a massive grudge against either of those players. But instead, it was Kesler. It was always Kesler. This guy had been annoying the Flames for a decade. The Flames had been losing to the Ducks for even longer. I too would have been pointing at Kesler sitting on the puck and saying, "See, he's evil," while other fan bases shrugged their shoulders and said, "I don't know, I guess he's pretty annoying." Even writing this, I'm watching back games like they're the Zapruder film and going, "You see what Kesler did there?" A perfect example of this is Game 2 of the 2017 series, where Kevin Bieksa fought Michael Furland, but look who has Sam Bennett in a headlock for seemingly no reason. That's right, Ryan Kesler. See what he did to Matt Stayon on the game winner? Game 3 was an embarrassingly blown 4-1 Flames home lead. Corey Perry scored in overtime. Did I mention the Flames hate his guts too? Gibson assured the sweep in Game 4, and the Flames were forced once again to come back next year. But finally, on October 9th of 2017, the Flames won in Anaheim, a game that Ryan Kesler did not play. Kesler, with his hips having deteriorated, saw his time torturing the Flames come to an end, saying his final goodbye by punching Matthew Tkachuk in the face. Now, I know some of you are saying, why not Corey Perry? He's a prick that I also hate. He even became an Oiler. Well, because of the splits. If we look at how Corey Perry played against each team in the NHL, you can see he played well against the Flames, but not especially so. Calgary's 5th in Perry points against, 3rd in penalty minutes against, and way down the list at 11th in goals against. Now for Kesler, the Flames are number 1 in points against with 56, the next highest is 43, 1st in penalty minutes against with 93, the next highest is 68, and 2nd in goals against with 23, behind only the Wild with 26. What makes Flames fans dislike Kesler is not simply that he was good or agitating. It's the sheer glee he had in torturing them. That's what makes Ryan Kesler Calgary's most hated. What? The video's over. The Flames lived happily ever after with their 2 young superstars, Matthew Tkachuk and Adam Fox. What's that? Fox told the Flames he wouldn't play for them? Oh, alright, well then he screwed them over and went to free agency, right? No? He was part of a pretty big trade with Carolina that got the Flames Elias Lindholm and Noah Hannafin? Okay, then what's the problem? Just that he forced his way out of town? I don't know, I think he was well within his rights to do that, getting paid for a few years, pushing back his first real money-making contract too. But at the end of the day, he still did scorn the Flames for no reason other than he wanted to play for the Rangers, kind of insulting the city as a whole. And him not re-signing started what felt like a snowball as Matthew Tkachuk forced his way out of town a few years later, and Johnny Gaudreau left in free agency, making the Flames feel like the Oilers, which is probably the worst insult you could levy at Calgary. So you still boo Adam Fox every time he comes to town? You know what? I get it. Sorry, Kesler. The most hated is Adam Fox. See everyone next time.